Hi, how you doing? We're going to do a fight review. This time we're going to look at a lesser known film. It's called Becoming Jane, and it effectively tells the story of Jane Austen, the author. The fight takes place between the man she adores and a stranger. But before we get into that, let's set the scene a little. I'm not sure of the exact year that the film's set in, but Jane Austen was born in 1775, and she's probably in her early 20s here, so we can guess 1795-ish. So that's a nice date, a nice year for classical pugilism. The character that James McAvoy plays is supposedly a skilled gentleman boxer. He trains with Jackson at Jackson's Rooms. If you're unsure who he is, check out my video, Stories of Greatness, on John Jackson. He was a remarkable man and had a gentleman's school of boxing in London. So we know that McAvoy is a skilled boxer. And so that gives us a little bit of an idea of how this is supposed to pan out. At this point, historically speaking, Broughton's rules were well established. By the time Jackson was teaching, we'd had a number of champions past Broughton, and the rules were fairly well codified at that point. So no striking a man on the ground, no taking hold below the waist, and so on. That doesn't mean that that's always how fights took place, but that's how the title was fought for, and that's how the serious boxers of the day, including gentlemen that trained at Jackson's Academy, were fighting. The stunt choreographer for the film is a man by the name of Donald O'Farrell. He's done an awful lot of TV work, not someone I'm familiar with. I understand that James McAvoy has done some martial arts, but a quick Google doesn't really tell me what. So we're in quite an interesting position here. We've got a lot of potential. It's a brilliant period, and there's a lot that we could do that could reflect the history well. Anyway, that's the scene. What we've got is Jane Austen and her love walking along, and well, I'll stop talking and I'll show you the first bit of the fight.
Yes, vastly fashionable pastime in London. Beating a man to a pulp.
So the two of them have come across a fight. Brilliant. That makes doing a fight breakdown a little bit easier. Two gentlemen stripped to the waist, fighting away. The first thing we see is that one of them's got hold of the other guy and he throws him to the ground. That's fine. Don't have any problems with that. The guy that's thrown to the ground's clearly taken a bit of punishment. He's a bit battered. The other guy doesn't seem to be quite so battered. Looks a bit bigger, a bit stockier, a bit stronger. As the guy on the floor tries to get up, he hits him. And we can see straight away that James McAvoy's character does not approve of this. Neither does Anne Hathaway's character, Jane. And we see a couple of blows go into this guy who's on the ground. And James McAvoy is unhappy. This guy is clearly not fighting in a gentlemanly way. So he's going to do something about it. Let's see what.
What are you doing? Mr. Lefroy? Stop!
Make way!
Now, I don't know if this is on purpose or not, but effectively we've got to hold my coat and watch this moment. And in my experience, they rarely end well. However, yeah, he's clearly no pushover. So he passes Jane's coat, he walks into the ring, he pulls the guy up, and he throws a massive, big round blow. I'm a little bit unhappy that a gentleman boxer, who clearly we've been set up to believe likes to do these things properly, comes barreling in with a very much unscientific blow as his first move. However, it's clearly a powerful punch. So now the fight's changed. Instead of being two guys we don't know, it's now a guy we do know and a guy we don't know. And we've got a little bit of a story going on here. Our protagonist, if you like, in this fight, James McAvoy, is a gentleman. He does these things properly. He approves of gentlemanly behaviour and likes to stick to the rules. The other fighter, the antagonist, if you like, clearly doesn't care about the rules and just likes to beat people up. Let's see who comes out on top.
Stop!
Let us see how you fare against me, sir. Coming through.
Okay, so we have the official challenge. He's in there. He's pushed him to one side. Let me see how you fare. Let's see how you fare against me. So he takes off his cravat. He throws it. Magically, it lands exactly in Jane Austen's hands. He raises his guard, and he starts to melt. Okay, fine. Okay, I quite like that. They've clearly put a little bit of effort into making sure this looks right. It's good. I like it. Whether I'll still like it in a minute, who knows? So, the bad guy, because, you know, there's got to be a good guy and a bad guy, throws a big punch. And McAvoy steps off to the side slightly and brings down almost a hammer fist blow into it. I like that. There are a couple of things that are worth mentioning about this. That's exactly what you'd expect for a skilled boxer from the time to do in response to a body shot. This downward blow, it's almost attacking the arm, is very typical. So we like that. And as he steps off to the side, he throws this contracted arm strike into his opponent's body. And that's good too. It's worth mentioning that often what you see in fight choreography is people blocking across the body. So that when a punch comes in down this side, they'll block across here. And they do that because it looks really nice on camera when you get this big rotational response. So this counter punch comes in a big way. And here what they've done is not only have they kept it small and tight, but they've kept it authentic as well. Daniel Mendoza's treatise on boxing tells us very clearly that we should be blocking on the same side that the strike's coming in. So if our opponent throws a left, which is what's happened in this fight, we block with our right, so it's all on this side. And what we don't end up doing then is crossing our arms over. Remember that closing to grapple was very much part of fighting, even for gentleman fighters that were training out of Jackson's rooms. So it's really nice that he's blocked this across and he's thrown in this little contracted arm strike into the floating ribs. There's a bit of a jump there. And I can't tell, I've watched it a lot of times, I can't tell if this is like just sort of a way that they've shown us the same punch twice in order to kind of emphasise it, or whether he's supposed to have thrown two punches. But either way, the last punch, or the punch, you pick, lands, and he kind of stands up proudly and walks aside, and he's got this arrogance of a Regency gentleman down pat. I'm liking this. It's nice and authentic so far, and we're being shown quite clearly that science beats brute force and aggression. And that's kind of a theme that runs through Regency bare knuckle boxing, so I'm enjoying it. Let's see how the fight progresses.
You sure that's a ticket?
That was a nice punch. Let's watch it again. There's a bit more scene setting, some gambling going on, we see some faces in the crowd, some people look excited, some people look worried, and that's good. And then we see McAvoy's character throw this straight left lead with a supinated fist, and it's a very authentic punch, but it's authentic from later on. This supinated fist may have been used then. We don't really know. But the way he's thrown that punch is absolutely perfect for about 100 years later. Now it's distinctly possible that people were fighting in exactly that way. But I think that it's a little bit more stylized than we'd have seen in the 1700s. It's exactly the sort of thing that Donnelly was teaching, 1880, 1890, round about then, where boxing was a lot more stylized. The grappling had effectively been taken out of it, and the stances were a lot more side on, and it was almost fencing. There's this whole sort of point work where you're using your lead to deflect the other person's lead and throw this fist in. And that's what we see here. It's a lovely punch, and it's an authentic punch historically, but I suspect that we've kind of drawn all of old school boxing together into one thing, and that's actually not how it was. I think we've got this spectrum that starts with kind of a little bit more brutal, a little bit more aggressive, and more close work, more grappling, across to this much more fine, precise, scientific school of boxing. And I think what we're showing here, and possibly this has been done on purpose, to show us that James McAvoy is a gentleman and he's doing these things in a gentlemanly way. But even so, I like it. It's worth pointing out though, that whilst he's fast, and he's precise, and he's accurate, it's not really very powerful. And that's authentic too. A little bit after this period, there was a fighter by the name of Tom Spring, who was a fantastic fighter, very skilled, very fast, very agile, very accurate, but he was known as the light tapper because he just didn't have that knockout power. And it may be a pure coincidence that that's what we're seeing here from McAvoy's character. Maybe not. The character, as they've got him dressed and styled, does look a bit like Tom Spring. Let's see. Let's see if that lack of power comes back to bite him.
Thank you.
Seems that our brutal, unskilled bad guy isn't quite so unskilled after all. McAvoy throws the left lead again because it worked so beautifully last time, but this time he's ready for it. And he catches it and he throws his own punches in response. And he's certainly hitting a little bit harder. That could be a problem.
Come on, McAvoy, hit him there!
Tom! You must stop!
Come on, McAvoy!
Gets thrown around a bit. It's a nice way of drawing the fight out from a cinematographical, whatever that word is, from that point of view. But it's a bit dull, isn't it? You know, if you've shocked them and you've stunned them, you've hit them a few times, and you can get in close and get hold of them, and grappling is perfectly allowed, and your character is clearly somebody who's willing to bend the rules as far as they will bend in order to win, why would you just kind of push them towards the crowd? I don't think you would. I think you'd probably knee them in the face, or pick them up and throw them, or something along those lines. But that being said, that's what happens. And McAvoy's character is now clearly a bit cross. And he gets in, and we're back to how we were at the beginning. We've lost that scientific, nice straight lead hand punch, and he's just throwing in some big blows. Now, thankfully they land. Brilliant. Okay, so we're pretty even now. But oh, what's that? There's a young girl in the crowd. I wonder if that's relevant. Yep, seems like it was a bit relevant. She calls, he's distracted, he looks round to see who's calling, and our bad guy, instead of getting up and coming back to his guard and fighting him again, punches him in the leg. He kind of staggers and looks down, and the other guy throws a massive rising blow, knocks him out cold. And that's the end of the fight. I think all in all, I quite like it. You know, we'll give it a positive review. There's some lovely historical stuff in here. It's a bit kind of piecemeal. They've drawn things in from various different places, but at least they've tried. You know, the costumes are good. You know, it's what you'd expect for a relatively low-budget British and Irish historical drama. The feel is good. I like the way they've set it up. I like the fact that we're being told a story through the fight, and the moves kind of fit the characters. And that takes a little bit of skill, and we don't see that all the time. I like the fact that we've got two very different styles of fighting going on, and that reflects the period as well. I quite like the fact that we've got this whole kind of displeasure, this whole, you know, they come across a fight and it's not a gentlemanly fight. They're doing it wrong. This is not the way it should be. It's just not cricket. It's not the English way. And I like the fact that McAvoy takes offence at that, and his response is to step and do it. This guy's a boxer. He knows what he's doing. Okay, doesn't quite work out well for him, but it really works for the character. So, all in all, as far as Becoming Jane goes, I like it. We'll give this fight a thumbs up. So well done, and let's see if we can get some more fights that are like this. Authenticity in fights is great. Why aren't more people doing it? You know, this works really nicely, and it gives us a nice, enjoyable fight to watch. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed my breakdown. Go and watch the whole film. Let me know what you think. Have I missed something? Stick something in the comments. If you've enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up. Like the video. It's always nice. If you've liked it a lot, share it with your friends. Subscribe to my channel, please. Go on. We're almost at a really nice boundary now. We're almost at 5,000. And I'm going to change the way the channel's working a little bit in the new year, but more about that in another video. If you have any money at all to spare, please consider checking out my Patreon page and supporting me through Patreon. Again, I'm going to slightly change the way this works in the new year, but more about that soon. But I'll put there's a link here. Check out Patreon. If you can become a patron and support me with a couple of dollars, that would be fantastic. Martial arts, teaching it, writing about it, making videos about it is my living. And I'm a pauper. I'd really like some more money. Anyway, take care guys. If you've got any suggestions for other fights that you want me to break down, stick them in the comments and I'll see you soon. Take care.